Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. In this series of episodes, what we're going through is camping in the BYD Seal Premium that I have. Now, it is a sedan vehicle, so camping in it isn't as great as camping in a SUV, for example, but it's quite exciting. Now, this is the second episode of the series. If you haven't watched the first episode, I invite you to go watch that. I'll pop it up onto the screen. Now, in this particular episode, what we'll be covering is the campsite setup. We'll also be preparing the car for the night of the sleep, and we'll also cover the next morning. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. So this is the campsite. That's the Tesla Model Y. Our makeshift gazebos. And this is the campsite. And the river is in the back, so it's quite a beautiful place to be. If we move down here, of course, that's the Seal. This is the standard GPO outlets that everyone feeds from. And there we are, right near the river. Just to quickly mention that you see there I'm charging at 1.5 kilowatt. Basically, this site that we're at has a charging facility, but of course just gives you a normal GPO outlet. And I brought the granny charger, and this is what you get with the BYD granny charger, 1.5 kilowatts. When I came here a few hours ago, it was at 58%, and it's, as you can see, gone up to 65%. Okay, so now we're at the camping site. It is quite late at night. We've organised all the gazebos. We've done all the preparations. We've set up our camping gear. We've done all our beds within the vehicles. And we've had dinner. So it's all quite good at the moment. So the idea now is to set up the BYD for camping mode, or showroom mode as they call it. I'll take you through the setup, and I'll quickly go over the features that you need to do on this particular vehicle to lower the lighting and do all that sort of stuff to allow nice, comfortable sleep at night. So let's go through this now. Now, to look at the menus here, one of the main things to do is, number one, go through your ambient lighting. You want to make sure that this dynamic colors is actually turned off. That's really important. And this will get rid of the ambient lighting part. Exterior lighting, this daytime running light, you want to disable that. As you can see with the enable there, you'll see that there's a light there, disable it, and the light goes off. So it's important that's disabled so it doesn't waste power. Courtesy lighting here. This intelligent courtesy lighting you can turn off also. Now the other parts here is in the audio display. You can see here the screen and the screen brightness. This is the center console brightness. Now we technically don't have to have it this bright, but what I'll be doing with this actual center console is actually turning it off before I sleep. So this doesn't matter so much. What does matter is this instrument display. Now you can see there it's defaulting to 60%. Unfortunately, in this particular vehicle, you can't turn off the instrument display. So my solution to that is to lower this as much as possible. I'll just go to show you the display. That's maximum and that's minimum. So as you can see, it does decrease. Okay, but the idea is, okay, we decrease it as much as possible, but the idea is, you can see it doesn't actually stay on 0%. So this will be, okay, maybe, okay, isn't that interesting? I don't know why it's doing that. Now, one other thing to note here is the headlights. That has to be on 0. Right there, if I can focus on that. you can't do that because that turns on the headlights, where if you do it to 0, that turns off the headlights. And we can see there the instrument display is quite high. The solution for me to do this is to actually put a towel or something to cover this. I'm actually going to put a towel over it so I don't actually see this while I'm trying to sleep. But going back to the console, for some reason we can't actually reduce that less than 60. I don't know why. Maybe if you know, you can explain that in the comment section. And all of these other items here, I don't need to really touch. Now I will be turning on the air conditioning system, but let's first go through the camping mode. So to do the camping mode, what we need to do is press this mode button and this left button at the same time for 10 seconds. So let's do that now. Now during that time, as soon as it kicks in, we'll go back to the center console where it'll give us a message like that. So it flashes the hazards a couple of times and then it gives us this message. And there we are. We're in now camping mode. What that means is there's no way you can actually drive this vehicle at this point. But what we can do is going back to the console, we can now turn on the air conditioning, which is the climate control. And there we are, you can hear it running. Now I can have that on all night and I can lock up the vehicle and sleep in the back during this point. One other thing, if you notice here, the circulating internal circulation control, I actually want external air. And that's important because I want fresh air during the night, not recircled air with carbon dioxide from my exhaling of breath. So to turn the screen off, I essentially just pull down here and you can see that option there, screen off. I can press that and there we are, the screen is off. Now, as I explained before, the idea for this instrument display is very difficult to turn this completely off. Actually, you can't do it, not as far as I can see. So simply just putting a towel straight over it. And there we are, that completely blocks it. And now, as we can see, I've settled in. It is a good night, even though it's raining a little bit, that's fine. I'm not actually hearing it within the vehicle. I actually had to turn the vehicle off the camp mode because the ambient lighting kept flashing. So I've just left the car on. I've locked the doors and yeah, and the air conditioning is on, climate control. So I should be fine for the night. And yeah, so now we've just woken up and, you know, cleaned up and stuff. And now we're looking at the vehicle. You notice the towel actually did an extremely good job to actually take the light out of the console. So as we can see here, the details, it's actually on 77% and it's still charging with 1 kilowatt at the moment, which means I left it plugged in the entire night while the climate control was actually active. So what that means is it was not using more than what was being ingested. So the charge was actually more than what it was being used, because I think it was something like 68% or 63%, something like that. We'll look at the video to determine what it was. But let's now look at the actual console. And here we are. So we can see I set it to 24 degrees during the entire night. And it was actually not bad. The climate control was actually not bad. So that was the end of the second episode. Quite interesting, isn't it, when you do camping in a vehicle different from a tent or actual caravan or a room or something like that. It is quite a lot different. And it was the first experience I've had in my life of camping in an actual vehicle. Now, normally I've gone through tents and sleeping bags and cabins and all of this stuff, but I've never actually slept in a vehicle. So this has been quite a learning experience. So on the next episode, what we'll be doing on our way home is giving a summary of the camping trip. We'll also be talking about how the trip actually had zero EV travel costs. We'll also be discussing the different granny charges that were used at the site. And lastly, we'll finish up by giving my rating and opinion of actually sleeping in the BYD Seal vehicle. So I hope you enjoy the coming episode. I hope to see you there. If you did like this particular episode, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this content with others who'd be interested, or just leave a comment. It really all helps. Until the next episode, I really hope to see you then. Bye for now.